I'm doing one of my usual things where I look at a sheet of paper and think, what else can I make out of it? Who else buys these beautiful papers from Paige Evans, who does an amazing job? But as much as we love rainbows, I'm not one for little tiny rainbows like this. Like that, to me, it's too repetitive. It's too much. My kids aren't of that age. I don't gel with it. So today, you need to stick around because I'm going to show you how I use this really busy paper in a different way. Reimagine how it can be used. Now, before we get started, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody that has been sharing my channel. It is fantastic. I am absolutely blown away. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. We have got an awesome little corner here where we scrap a little differently, and I try and bring you a different idea every other day, not every other day, 6 days a week. And you get 6 new videos a week for free and lots of inspiration, all different. I use mixed media, I use all sorts of things, and all I ask in return is hit the like button, subscribe, and that's how I make my money to buy more supplies to show you new ideas. And that's how I do it without charging you guys for a fee. Isn't that awesome? Fantastic. Now, this is what I'm doing. So I've pulled out some doilies, I'm getting my rainbows, and I'm linking them together to make a flowerette sort of thing. Now, I've got to be honest, this green was throwing me. Now, originally I thought, I'll do the green because it'll look like leaves, but the green was polarizing every other color on the layout. I don't know why. When it was in the rainbow format, the way it was done the first, like before I cut it up, it didn't sort of stand out to me too much, but it really stood out to me when I started doing this. Now, I am, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. I decided to go a bit cray and I cut all the green bits off because I like the blue, I like the teal color. That worked with my photos, it worked with my little flower things. I was calling them flower. In my mind, I was thinking, think of a flower, sort of go down a flower route. But then I thought, let's just make them sort of, they're not pinwheels, but that sort of thing. When you go to, well, us Aussies, I can say that. I imagine everywhere else in the world, Canada and the UK, Italy and the US, and the list goes on. I'm sure you guys have these kind of pinwheel things when you go to a carnival / show / exhibition, depends what you call it in your country. And I absolutely loved the way they turned out. They looked really pretty. Now, I pulled out 2 different texture pastes. I pulled out the TCW Pink Lemonade Stencil Butter, and I pulled out the LUNAR Paste Rosy Cheeks. Now, I'm going to stand by what I said the very first time. The stencil butter, for some reason, there must be something in it that's slightly different to the LUNAR paste because it is so pungent. Whenever I have fibromyalgia, so I'm going to point that out first, and I will highlight that. But it's just so strong. I love the color though, and I love the consistency. It's just really, really strong. So all I did was open my window, and I put my fan on, and it wasn't really a huge problem. So then I just scraped the excess onto that scrap of paper. I wanted something in the background. I didn't want anything I wanted to put the stenciling down higgledy-piggledy. I didn't want it to be in a line or I sort of started going in a line and then went, oh, that's not really what I want to do. So you've got the 2-tone metallic pastes in the background. Then I realized, if you're new to my channel, I do like splatters, but they have to be intentional and they have to be, I don't like them as an afterthought usually. And so I went to town before I put anything on this layout. I didn't want splatters all over my little flowerets. I wanted it to be on the background. So I pulled out 3 Distress Oxide inks, cracked Pistachio, Salvaged Patina, and Worn Lipstick. And I diluted them slightly, and I used my fan brush. A fan brush is the tip to getting tiny little speckles. They're the ones that I like the most, the little tiny speckles. When I'm doing a full-blown mixed media, all the mediums and paints and everything, I don't mind a big splat then. But when I'm doing something like this, it's a bit more delicate, and I want interest in the background, but to not take over the background. Make sense? Now I'm coming in with my leftover rainbows, and I'm gluing them around. This is not an exact science. I'm just gluing these down. These doilies, I bought them from the $2 shop, guys. Yes, you can buy ones, and you can buy dies, and you can do all that sort of thing. I don't use them enough to justify the cost of them. So these are just ones from the $2 shop, and they work perfectly. For this particular thing, you can see how these are sort of looking like, if you're thinking of a flower, they sort of look like the leaves. But if you start thinking more of a pinwheel, they're more just added interest. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm working out in the back of my mind, I'm trying to work out whether I need to put something in the middle, but what? But what is the question? Now, I struggled with it a little bit, but it was about here that I got it together and went, aha, I know what I need to do. It did take me a couple of shots to get it right, but I got it there in the end. And if you can hear anything odd, by the way, I'm fussy cutting some while I'm doing this voiceover. I'm getting ready for the next layout. So I'm doing that. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm up to my second coffee this morning. It's only 8:44 a.m. I've got the kids off to school. Hubby's gone to work. And I'm just cracking on. So I pulled out my CM circle cutting system. I think that's what they call it. My circle cutting system, and I pulled out the wrong size, and it took me a few goes to get the size right. But for some reason I was thinking I had the right, I thought it's blue, I'm sure it's blue, then it's green. It's fine. I figured it out. Don't worry. So I just cut 3 circles using my cutting system. That way it was, because the rainbows were they were all measured, if that makes sense. I wanted this circle piece in the middle. I didn't want to just roughly cut one out. It needed to be pretty bang on the money. So put a bit of double-sided tape on my table, on my plastic mat, and I stuck down the circles that I just cut out. I've grabbed this doily stencil. I've had it for eons. I've got no clue where it came from, guys, but I'm sure you can find some out there. Just to add, and I'm just lining it up with the center part of it just to give some visual interest to my centers. And it's not necessarily flowers, it's literally another doily. So, and remember, when you're using texture paste of any description, you need to clean your stencil straight away. Do not leave it. Stick it in water if you've got water and come back to it, but do not let it dry on your stencil because it will ruin your stencil. Now, I use the TCW Light and Fluffy Modeling Paste. Thanks to Bobby, I have got a massive stash of it now, which I am so happy about. It's my favorite because it's really light. It doesn't weigh your page down. It dries super duper quick, and I like the texture of it. I know it sounds odd, but it's not a slick surface. It's got a bit of tooth to it. So yeah, I really like it. So if you're looking for a texture paste, give that one a crack. It's really good. Now, I've come in with my Salvaged Patina and Cracked Pistachio again, and I'm just trying to make the centerpieces not look identical because the rainbows aren't all identical. And I use my little blower tool here. This thing's really handy. I got it from Temu and it was like $2. It's brilliant. I love it. I know you can get them, Couture Creations make them. Tim Holtz, I think, has one. Like, you can get all different ones, but I wasn't sure if I would use it very much, if at all. And I'm actually finding I'm using it more than I realized I would. So, give it a crack. Now, this is my gold metallic mica spray that I make myself. If you would like the recipe for this particular paste, sorry, this one's the spray, not the paste. If you want the recipe for it, in the description below, you'll find my Facebook group. Click on that, jump over to the group. I'll approve you, jump on over there, and pinned at the very top, I've got the recipe written out. So it's there for everyone. So when you run out and you forget how you made it, it stays there. I don't move it because it was the best thing I have ever made. You don't get that oily ring around the gold mica part of it that you get with some gold mica sprays. So it's fantastic. Now, I did decide to come in here. It needed a little bit more attention right in the very center. So I just pulled the stencil out again, and I pulled out some peacock feathers in Distress Oxide and my finger dobber, and I'm just dobbing just in the very center. Not trying to add anything too extra to it, just drawing attention to the centerpiece. Now, I'm loving how this is looking. I then went around the very edge with the peacock feathers. As much as I love the pinwheel things, the photos, everything, something wasn't working. Something wasn't right. Now, stick around for the next couple of minutes and you will see what I do, and it totally makes all the difference. As you can see, it's looking a bit, there's texture paste, there's stuff, but now what do? Now, I decided I was going to dig into my Simple Stories Life in Bloom, I think this is. I didn't actually write it down. How did I miss that? So the papers, I'll have everything listed below, but I will let you know the paper that I cut this from was page 6 of the Paige Evans Blooming Wild collection. That's where I got that page from. I quite often don't buy an entire collection. I'll just buy 1 or 2 pieces of it. And once I've used it once or twice, I like to move on to another creator, another collection, all that sort of thing. Otherwise I get bored, and I'm sure you'd get bored looking at the same thing. If I scrapped exactly the same way every single day and I used the same collection every single day, you would get bored with it, you would switch off, you would go to sleep, and so would I. So that's why I like to use all different collections. I use branded stuff, I use non-branded stuff, all that sort of bizzo, and I like to try things before you guys try things. Now, I did realize that I put some stickers down, just some word stickers, just to create that flow going across the page. And then I realized maybe what this needs is some text in the background. So because I've already glued everything down, I have to come in and cover the areas I don't want the text. I pulled out my Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide, which is a nice grey. I didn't want to go in with black ink. And I wanted it because I want it to fade into the background. This is not, if I used black, it would have pushed to the front and it just would have looked cluttered. So I used the grey and it looks really good. I was definitely on the right track. This is what it needed. Just the splatters on their own was not enough because I put so much of the texture paste down. Now, and the LUNAR paste, texture paste. The stencil butter and the LUNAR paste is what I'm trying to say. I suppose it is a texture paste. Gives you lots of texture. Now, I'm just using that blank bit of cardstock there just so I don't accidentally stamp on anything I don't really want grey. So this I've actually slowed down to normal time, and I don't know why I slowed this down. Why did I slow this down? There was a reason for it. This is real time for me, guys. This is how slowly I scrap. I know I get a lot of, actually I can't say I scrap this slowly all the time. This particular page, I was just getting started in the morning, and for some reason it took me ages to get this page done. I think I just threw myself off by having so many patterns going in different directions and not quite sure where to go with it. So, sorry, I need a mouthful of my coffee. Please bear with me 1 second. Okay, maybe 3 seconds. Now, I'm liking where this is at, but something's still not quite right. It's coming. My brain is getting into gear, and my brain is now looking at it going, what is the one thing, I can hear you all saying it now, what is the one thing that I do on every single layout? I have got to have a distinct border. Now, I've worked it out. You can see my flutter hand there going. That's at real speed. Now, this bit of tape, you can see it's got stuff on it. This mint tape, I have had it given to me by several different people. I had Nancy gave me some, Shay gave me some, Bobby has given me some. Like, I love this stuff, and to have this given to me is a blessing, but I don't waste it. Do not waste it. So what I do is, because it's low tack tape and it's from scrapbook.com, right? And I didn't know if it was worth all the hype. It really is. It is times 10. It's great. You can peel it off your projects. It does not tear your project. It is so good. But the low tack side of it, it stays tacky. Now what I do is I actually just run it across my cupboard area, and that's next to me. I just stick it onto that, and then when I need to use another strip like this, because I do borders like this all the time, and when I do it like this, I just reuse the same tape, especially if I'm using the same color group. So I have got a strip there at the moment that is the blues and greens, and I've got a strip there that's yellow and oranges. So that way, because when I use the Distress Oxide ink, it's going to reactivate what's on the tape. So I try and make sure I reuse it with the same color family. Don't worry, I am coming back. I didn't realize that I disappeared. I was actually messaging a subscriber. This one's for Kel. Kel, I hope you're doing really well. Hope everything's going well and you're having a great day. Who else am I going to give a shout out to today? Carol. I'll give a shout out to Carol. How you going, Carol? Carol's organising a birthday party for her daughter, and wow, it's going to be fantastic, but it reminds me how much work goes into kids' birthday parties. Honestly, I am coming back. Don't worry. The video has not paused. It is coming back. I don't know why I left all this in there, but I did. What else can I tell you? I have got, we've got Bathurst this weekend coming up. Obviously, if you're watching this live, if you're watching it back, don't go looking for Bathurst because it was in October. And I feel like my video is paused, but it's not. Trust me, I'm keeping talking over it because if I stop now, I have to redo the whole voiceover because I'm hopeless at going back and fixing it. Anyway, I'm back now. Look at that. I know that I was answering messages at that point. So, rightio, what else was I doing? Actually, I know what that huge big break was. I had a doctor's appointment halfway through doing this layout. That's what the break was. Crazy, huh? And I didn't realize that I hadn't pressed pause. That's okay. It's all good. Fixed now. I'm back. This border makes all the difference. If you ever look at your page and think it's not finished, it needs something else. What else does it need? First of all, keep going. 2 more steps and it will come together. Second of all, try a border. if you don't, by doing a border like this, you could use paint, you could use watercolor, you could use texture paste, you could use ink, you could use diamantes if you want to run them around the outside. Anything that you could even use liquid pearls and do dots all the way around the outside. I've done that before. And giving your page that border and using a color that is already in the layout somewhere, it just helps it pop. It is so good. Give it a crack. In case you're stuck, give it a go. And believe me, it makes all the difference. Look at this page now. Well, when I turn it around. Give me a second. Now I've got to get rid of that oxide off there, or it's going to be all over me and all over my next layout. So this is pretty much, I think now, I don't think I do anything else. I was going to come in with some pen work, but that's right. I went around where I had the texture paste and the oxide went on top of it. I wanted to wipe it off so it looked like the texture paste was coming through from somewhere else. And I actually really like that look, to be quite honest with you. Now, all the birds are out this morning. We've had some rain and the birds are going bonkers. Don't know why. I hope that doesn't mean we're going to get a storm. It's not a storm bird going off though, so hopefully it's not. I don't know where the rain came from. I do. My husband washed both the cars on the weekend, mine and his. And I said to him, don't waste your time because I've got to take Jen to gymnastics. And when I drop her off at gymnastics, there's this, I've got to drive through gravel and dirt. So now it's rained. On top of that, any prizes in guessing what my Captiva is going to look like by 5 o'clock this afternoon? Guaranteed it'll be feral, but that's all right. I will suck it up. So I'm fussy cutting. I think I'm nearly done actually. This video is nearly done. So I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm there. I think it's because it was in real time. It felt like it took forever. Sorry about that, guys. Now, there you go. There's the close-up. You can see the border made all the difference. Pulled it all together. It's lots of colours. It's bright. It's bold. I just used those small stickers for my title because I felt if I had to put a title over the top, it would have just been too much. So let me know what you think. Is this something you'd give a go? If you haven't already liked and subscribed my channel, I would love a thumbs up if you're getting value from my videos. And don't forget to subscribe because I do 6 videos a week and you don't want to miss out on content. Thanks guys, chat to you soon. Bye for now.